Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. And welcome back, everyone. We're here today with Evil Marketing Genius and the leader of Mind of a Marketer, Earl Flormata. Earl and I, we go back a long way. I'm going to give a little bit of history here. We've worked on several projects together over the past probably close to 15 years now. And we've never done an interview together.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm going to be on your show, and you're going to be on mine, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah. So we're doing dueling interviews here on the Influencer Club, and also on Earl's show, which is
Connected Collabs.
So, yeah. So we're going to, of course, if you're listening closely, Earl's going to give us 5 tips on how to really get your business going. It doesn't matter what time it is, because there's always going to be some kind of crisis. There's always going to be something going on in our society that would give you an excuse not to run your business. But we're going to eliminate that and say that, hey, it doesn't matter. Just get going. So with that, Earl, maybe give a little bit of history about what you've done as a marketer to begin with.
Sure. Everyone calls me the Evil Marketing Genius. That's what my shirt says, Evil Marketing Genius, when I show it the camera. But I guess my background is computer science, business intelligence, and that sort of thing. And I decided I didn't want to do that anymore one day, and I switched over to marketing. I was actually kicking and screaming, actually. And then when I got there, I liked it so much I stayed. So here I am, marketing guy instead of IT guy now. So I guess by the numbers, I've done about $70 million worth of sales, online, offline. Whether it's from memory foam dog beds to software to basically anything. So yeah, I really just kind of enjoy the art and science of marketing and business, and it's kind of where I like to hang my hat, as you say. So I guess you were asking me for five tips for any business, medium, small business, and marketing. And the funny thing is, it's always the same structure, no matter how large or how small your business is, right? There's only so many pillars that you look at for kind of moving the ball along, right? So first things first is you need to look at what is the function of marketing, and all marketing is getting your message out there, and then seeing if people will respond to it or not. Mm-hmm. And that's really it. That's all marketing's job is. Bring the right people to the sales guys, and then the sales guys can help the client on their buying journey. And if it's a fit, they buy, and if it's not, they move along, right? And so there's 5 major pillars you look at in marketing. And the first thing you look at is the offer. Okay, so I'll go over the 5 pillars first, then we can kind of deep dive into each of them. And then I can give you like one tip on each pillar.
Awesome.
So it's does that work?
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay, cool. Well, so the first thing is the offer, right? Whatever the offer is, right? I'm a chiropractor. I help crack backs. I'm a massage therapist. We help, get the kink out of that shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. I sell hot dogs. It doesn't matter what you do. It's whatever the offer is. So that's just by definition, what is that offer, and how does it differentiate you between everybody else in the world, okay, in your space? The next thing, the next pillar is traffic, right? You can have the best offer in the world or not, but if you have nobody coming to see it, then you don't have anything, right? Because you need people to come see what you got, right? Mm-hmm. And that's traffic, and there's a bazillion ways to do traffic these days, right? You could do SEO and have it show up top of the search engines. You could Just buy traffic from Facebook. There's lots of cheap traffic on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, a million spaces to buy traffic from. So traffic is just one thing you should be looking at, to point towards the offer. And then once you have that offer and the traffic, the next thing you want to take a look at is list building. And that list building function is because traffic is expensive to keep continually buying over and over again. So it's important to build that list so that if you had another offer to that same demographic, you could give them that offer and it doesn't cost you a fortune to do so, right? So there's that. The fourth pillar, I think we're on 4 now, is conversion, right? Are people converting on every little piece, right? Is the traffic converting on the offer? Is the traffic converting to the list building? Are they joining your Facebook? Are they joining you on your social media? Are you following you on Instagram? Are they following you on TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever platform it is that you decide to go into? Are people converting, right? That's important because you could be putting the message out, but if no one's biting, then that's what you have to fix, right? And then last but not least is the actual sales process, right? Is the sales process itself, I guess, does it work, right? Are people buying? Are they happy? And what does that look like? Because marketing is part of the communication, right? And that last handoff to sales and that last bit to onboarding is still, in my opinion, in marketing's domain, because they that's where you're also going to get the most amount of testimonials, the most amount of feedback, all that kind of stuff that marketing has access to that the company would want, so that you can make things better, right, and stronger, and make a better offer, et cetera, et cetera. That's where you get all your data points at the end, and that validates whether you did a good job or not, measure-wise. So, and the trick is to just pick one, right? Pick one thing at a time, and it's to increase each of these pillars just by a small percentage, 1, 2, 3 points. Every given time frame that you want to measure yourself, whether it's every week, every other week, every month, if you're just tweaking these things 1, 2, 3%, every couple of weeks, you'll find that you can increase business by like a whack load, right? So depending on how big your business is, 6 figures might be a lot to you, right? So $100,000 might be a big add to your bottom line if you're a small flower shop, right? Versus, if you're a large, HVAC company and you've got 6 trucks running around installing heating and air conditioning, $100,000 might be pocket change for you. It might, $500,000 might be a little more interesting, right? But again, it's these 5 exact same areas that you just tweak a little bit, right? McDonald's made it famous. Would you like fries with that, right? And it's crazy how much, would you like fries with that makes a difference, right, to your bottom line, if you just keep doing that and compounding it across these 5 pillars of marketing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I like the example of McDonald's because what is it they have, their number of people served is in the billions, and across North America between the U.S. and Canada they sell more fries than any other fast food outlet that there is, and they are also the largest toy distributor in North America, even if you look at Toys R Us.
Yeah, I saw that fact, and it's crazy. I think the other fact that went along with that one was that Lego is the biggest manufacturer of tires. Not just sheer number of tires, but actual rubber used. Like they make more tires than Goodyear and everybody else, like by a lot.
Yeah.
And part of that was because McDonald's sometimes distributes Lego, and then you put those two suckers together, and it's just boom.
Boom.
Right?
Exactly.
From a distribution standpoint, marketing standpoint, everyone sees it, and it's like, oh yeah, well, you get the little piece of Lego. That's not going to do you enough. So you're prompted then to buy more, right? So you can stick it to something else. So.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So that makes a very, very interesting example to look at. And I would invite people to while they're actually not always try to do exactly what they do, but understand the process that they put into it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, So if we can dive into the first thing, then why don't we just dive into the offer piece? And since
Yeah.
we're talking about McDonald's, why don't we talk about the crazy marketing campaign that happened last year between McDonald's and Burger King? Did you see that whole crazy thing where it was called the redirect campaign, where McDonald's sent or where Burger King sent everyone to McDonald's and then sent them right back to Burger King again?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. Yeah. So that was a crazy offer, right? So the offer was essentially, it was a way to pull their competitors away from the competitor's store and then drag them to their store. So they developed so Burger King developed an app, and what they did was you had to be geolocated within the McDonald's area, and then if you were there, you could literally buy a $1 Whopper from McDonald's. Right, you had to go to McDonald's, just be in their area under parking lot or whatnot, open the Burger King app. Only if you were in that area you could order a Whopper for $1. Then you had to go drive over to Burger King, and then we give you directions to the closest Burger King to then go pick up your Whopper for $1. And just that one series, like that one offer, and the way they presented that offer. I'm just going this route because we started talking about McDonald's. It was just fascinating because people had to go to the competitor and then download an app. Like for a while, it was like the most downloaded app in the entire App Store, which is crazy. Really, the Burger King app? Come on, like it beat everybody. So yeah, then they did the thing, and that's what I mean about an offer, right? We sell hamburgers. We also sell hamburgers, right? What are you doing in that offer that differentiates yourself from everybody else? What are you doing that makes it interesting, right? What are you doing that makes it that unique sales proposal in that offer that makes you different than everybody else, right?
Right.
I got a friend who's a lawyer, right? All the lawyers are the same, right? At the end of the day, really, we exercise the law, we practice the law, He made something crazy where, instead of doing a traditional trademark, I think you know who I'm talking about. You pay this one fee, and regardless of how many fights that they had to go to for you to defend your case, they would guarantee that you'd get a trademark essentially.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool.
And
right?
Essentially, in 90% of the cases, the person got their trademark.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And with that guarantee, the price guarantee and the set guarantee, they were still able to make money. So there's always a way, right? Regardless of who you are, what you're doing, to make your offer exciting and new and something different from a different angle, right? That doesn't necessarily mean making everything cheaper, right? Or to race to zero. So that's that one thing. I mean, examine your offer. Are you offering everything that you could be offering, or is your offer kind of stale and old and doesn't do what it should be doing anymore, right? Like in this dates this recording, but the whole global pandemic, gyms are all closed, right? And so I saw this one person change up her offer. So instead of training people in the gym, she actually set up an Instagram page, and people now follow her on Instagram, and then she trains people via video on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a change in offer. That come to the gym and train with me. You could train in your living room. You could train in your basement. You could train in your backyard. Don't care if you have Instagram. Click on this and ta-da. And she charges something like $1 or $5 per session. But because of the change in state, instead of having the gym where you can only have like 10 people in it, she's got Instagram, or she's got literally hundreds or thousands of people joining her on Instagram for her workout. Right. So if she's only charging, let's say, $5 or whatever a workout, if 1,000 people show up, that's more than she'd ever make training at the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
And
right?
Again, it was just a question of positioning that offer, right? So there you have it.
Yeah.
So that's pillar number one. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So the offer in this case was her offer was very timely. Also, it fit the situation of what people were looking for.
Yeah, precisely. So I mean, she delivered because people. I mean, there's either you're gonna get fat from sitting on the couch, or you're gonna work out and get buff during the situation, right? And this is how you treat that situation.
Yeah.
And so she decided to take action, and anybody who wanted to be an action taker, who wanted to be part of something greater, bigger than themselves, and wanted to work out as a group, that's what they wanted to do. And for $5, you can't really go wrong, right? So I mean, that's the cheapest personal trainer workout you're ever gonna buy for $5. So, people are enjoying it, right? And she actually is growing her business in this state just by changing the offer, right? That's how important each of these pillars are. Each of these pillars are so pivotal, right? That I think she might never ever go back to the actual gym even when it opens again, because she makes more money sitting at home with a camera and working out and doing that instead. So
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So pillar number 2 again.
Number 2 is traffic. So increasing the number of ways you bring traffic to your business. So this just goes back to fish where the fish are, right? It's really simple. You want to be a successful fishing person, right? Then fish where the fish are. It's as simple as that. So, as an example, I was teaching someone who was in the financial services arena. And I asked them, well, how do you get your clients? And they go, oh, yeah, well, we go networking, we do this, we do that. Everybody does that. You go to the meetup group, and like half the room is realtors, the other half is like, people from financial services, and the other half mortgage brokers, and they're all trying to sell each other. I'm like, this is not working, right? It's just like, so instead of doing something like that, why don't you do something else where nobody else is going? And so what I suggested that they do is, I don't know if you've seen it, but you've seen those little black boxes that you can put cards in, like business cards in, or a draw box.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I asked them. I mean, I noticed that even though it's a hot day, you're wearing a suit, right? And the suit you can't just chuck in the washing machine. You have to dry clean that stuff. And anybody who wears a suit is always going to the dry cleaner, and everyone who wears a suit is a professional, and that is your target market. So why don't you join venture with a dry cleaner, right? And that's what they did, and they ended up selling more than all the other counterparts who are busting their ass going to networking events, doing this and doing that, and doing everything that everyone else does, because not many people went the dry cleaner route, right? Which sounds weird, but that is a definite source of traffic in a place where your fish live, right? So if people are wearing suits, they got to get dry cleaned. They got to go to the dry cleaners. Done, right? And so that's what I mean about traffic. And traffic doesn't have to be some complex algorithm of, ranking on Google or, paying Facebook $1 bazillion or any of those things. It's just ways to get more people to your business. And if you can just look at and examine how many sources of traffic do we have now? Can we increase that by 1? Right? What are make a giant list of other ways you could bring traffic to your business. You don't even have to be creative. Just look at all your competitors. Figure out how they bring traffic to their business. Hey, what one of those channels are we not doing yet? Why aren't we doing that? Hey, why don't we give it a shot? And if you can increase it by 1%, I mean, 1% is so small. You can trip over, screw up, and still manage to get 1%. Right?
Right.
And,
one would hope.
And that's all it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and if you screw it up, I mean, you've got 51 more weeks if you screwed up the first week to do it again, right? So if you just keep doing this, and you keep doing this over and over and over time, you're going to start to see what works and what doesn't work for your business, right? And it doesn't have to be an expensive endeavor every single time, right? And that's part of that key, especially for small, medium business. You don't have the same budgets that the big guys do, right?
Yeah.
So. And that's the tip for traffic. Just literally, just look, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting for both of our businesses, is because we're actually on the smaller side. I'm a media business, and trust me, in comparison to global CBC, all these other people that are sitting in the same exact press conferences that I am with the Prime Minister or the director of the WHO or something like that. It's like they're huge giants, and if I tried to buy marketing and traffic the same way they did, I wouldn't even make it out the gate, right?
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely different for each business size, but it doesn't have to be expensive. This is the real key takeaway here, right? You could do I'll send you later, or anybody who watches this. I did another talk where I explained how a guy with a row of bricks. I'll just leave it at that. A row of bricks drove traffic to a museum, and everyone's like, "How the hell do you use a row of bricks to drive traffic to a museum?" I'll leave that as a kind of a cliffhanger. Just watch the other talk, and then you can see me go kind of explain how that works. And like, how the hell is this a traffic source? And you can watch. We actually broke record selling tickets to the museum that day with a freaking row of bricks. Right? And they're like, what the hell? And any traffic source is an interesting traffic source as long as it can be replicated and repeated. So yeah, there you go.
So is the important thing here though to always you're still going to fish in the same pond. It's just that
yes,
that's the important part is to be at the pond. Where the fish
are. I mean, it's really just a function of in your fishing boat. How many hooks do you have hanging off the side of your boat?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the same boat, but if you've got 2 hooks and I've got 12, who's going to win? The guy with more hooks. Just period. Right? Even if he sucks at fishing, like the numbers are that he's got 12 hooks in the sea, he's probably going to catch more fish than you, and that's just the matter of fact, right? So just examine the number of hooks you've got. Right? If the offer is the bait on the hook, well, how many hooks do you have out there? Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So we're up to pillar number 3, right?
Number 3 is list building, and list building I can't stress enough. The amount of businesses who don't collect their customers' information so they can outreach back to them boggles my mind. I don't understand why people don't collect people's email addresses, and then when you come up with a new offer, you can send them stuff, right? And so list building is a combination of the previous 2 things. It's the offer and the traffic, but you can put more offers out there and you can bring more traffic for significantly cheaper than it cost you to bring the initial piece of traffic and put your initial offer out there. So let's pretend you're a restaurant, okay, going down the McDonald's chain, but something a little fancier than McDonald's, right? We've got a nice dine-in, let's say Greek-style restaurant, right? Well, when people come in, right, take their information down, right? Oh, sir, thank you for having a seat. Could I have your name and email address, please? Why? Well, if you like the restaurant, what we'd love to do is invite you back for birthday, anniversary, whatever the occasion is. Right, and we'd like to give you some free offers to come back and join us again. Right, I went to the Heart House in Burnaby, right, and what's the first piece of information they capture from us? When's your birthday? When's your anniversary with the wife? Oh, okay, cool. And literally, like clockwork, on my birthday, they sent me an email. Hey, happy birthday! The cake's on us. Come grab a cake. And then there's no requirement to buy anything extra. Just come on in and have a cake on us. Well, you can't go there and just have a cake. All the wonderful food you see going on, of course you're going to order something, right? And more likely than not, you are going to. And then so you get the anniversary one, you get the birthday one, you get the whatever occasion that you want to celebrate in there. And that list is golden because it's your customers who know, like, and trust you already, right? It's much cheaper to bring back someone who's already experienced your product or service for a second helping than it is to go find an absolute stranger and then convince them to come into your store, right? So this list building function, like how many different ways are you list building? Do you have a credit card draw, a business card draw at the front of the door and a big fishbowl? I mean, even that is a list building technique. Just don't forget to email everybody, right? Or, collect the emails, get them there, and then give them another offer to come back and do it again, right? There's only so many ways you can grow a business. And one of those ways is to have your customers come back and do it again, right? So, and it doesn't matter what kind of business you have. Typically, that list building technique works really, really well, unless you're like a one-off type thing, right? Where, you get a nose job. Usually you only want one of those, right? Hopefully, right? You're not addicted to getting your nose cut open and split up and change it all the time. So, I mean, for that type of thing, maybe the list building thing isn't as strong, but if they want other procedures done or they want to refer other people, they go, wow, you did such a good job on your nose. Who did your nose? I mean, that list building technique also builds referrals, rapport, everything else, and it builds that relationship with your clientele. So super important. Figure out how many ways are you building the lists and how many ways are you engaging the lists. And again, just 1% change, right? I had this one customer who's been around for, oh my gosh, it was like at least 10 years by the time I had signed up to do some consulting with them. And they had a giant list, like thousands upon thousands, and they'd never emailed them once. I go, why haven't you not emailed your list, right? And then it boggles my mind why people don't even start building these lists, right? So they're super important because it's what gets people back.
Thank you for listening to us today. Please find and click on the subscribe button so you can get continued updates from us.
Instagram. It's probably because I'm Asian. I don't know. It's a thing that we do. I don't know why we take pictures of our food. But I take pictures of the food. I post it on Instagram, right? I post it on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and whatever else it posts on. And because of that, I have followers. People follow me just to look at my food. I have no idea what's wrong with them. They just look at my food. And they go, oh, wow, that looks good. And I'm tagging the places I go to. And the hilarity of it is there's people I haven't spoken to 4, 5, 6 years. They hit me up saying, hey, Earl, I love your food posts. I hate them because they make me hungry all the time. Like, I don't know how you're not 500 pounds. But, that list, that relationship, they go, hey, do you still do that marketing thing? Yeah, I still do that.
Yeah.
I have probably made $100,000 off of Instagram posting food, right? And it's as simple as take a picture of what you eat before you eat it and then post it, right? And that's what I mean about like list building, because you've got these followers that follow you, even if you don't own the damn list, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it doesn't matter. It's still a list building function, right? And so build those lists and then engage with them. So that's pillar number 3.
Yeah. Of course, since we're on the whole food issue, I also happen to know you like sushi. Leading back to the fish and the hooks, you have now increased your number of hooks in the pond.
Yes, sir. Right.
It's
definitely.
I was going to say sometimes this isn't exactly rocket science, right?
It's not. People make it more, a big, scary, magic black hole. Some people think that marketing is like a dark art where you have to go out back, sacrifice a goat, and do a funny dance, and then it rains. Right? It doesn't. It's not really as hard as people make it out to be. Right? It's just this is what I do all day. So when I just say case study, they're like, how do you know all this stuff? This is what I do all day. Right? If you're a chiropractor, I expect you to be able to fix my neck and my back. Right? If I'm a marketer, well, I should be expected to be able to fulfill any one of these 5 different things based on what my specialty is, right? So there's that. And then the 4th pillar we move on is conversion. It's, are people saying yes, right? So are you measuring where people are saying yes? Where are they coming from, right? This is as basic as, how did you hear about us? Oh, I saw your thing on the paper. Oh, I saw you on the radio. Oh, I saw your interview on the show, right? Oh, I saw your post on Facebook. I saw your food post on Instagram, right? It's where are the conversions coming from, and measuring that specifically, right? In this day and age, it's super cheap to get another phone number, right? And I think it's like $1 or $2 a month to get another phone number that hooks up to your other phone line. There's no difference. It just rings, but then you can just count the number of times the phone line's been rung. So if you have a couple of different offers out there, you could have a couple of different phone numbers. People freak out. Well, what if they don't recognize my phone number? Who recognizes a phone number anymore, right? Other than your mother and your best friend, and well, I don't know anyone's phone numbers anymore. I just tell. I'm not going to say it because otherwise my iPad, my phone, and my computer will all start dialing. But if I ask nicely to Siri to open it up and start dialing people, it just starts dialing. I don't even know my buddy's phone number anymore. Right, Michael, I've known you for years. I don't know your phone number. I just tell the thing to dial you, and it just does. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
We'll see, right? I mean, I remember my parents' phone number. I remember my wife's old phone number from her parents' house, because that's what I used to call. That's about it, right? So when it comes to conversion, just having a different phone number for every offer is actually a cheap way to test which commercials are working. What of these fish hooks, which of them are doing the best? And it's important to test conversion and measure conversion, because then you can double down on what's working and stop what's not, right?
Right.
So there's conversion, and then the last pillar literally is just sales and the actual onboarding process. Like, what are you doing in the onboarding process to make it a smooth sailing as you possibly can, right? Mm-hmm. Back to the boat and the fish hooks. What are you doing to make the onboarding process as pleasant as you can for the customer, right? At what point is the customer the happiest in your onboarding process? Figure out what that is, and then ask them for testimonials at their happiest moment. Why? Well, then you're going to get the best testimonials out of your customers. You're going to get that, that raw emotion out of them, and they're so happy that they found a solution or a product or whatever that fixes their problem. And that's part of the marketing process as well, because if you don't do that piece, then you don't get that social proof of a testimonial. You don't get, people saying nice things about you. People still say nice things, but if you systemize it and make it easier, then you can collect them faster, and it just works better.
Right. Again,
and there you go. Five simple tips for marketing, but it's daunting if you don't name and label them, right? If you don't name them and label them and make a little thing and go, okay, well, here's the stuff we're going to take a look at today. It's hard to see what to do next, or where you are, or to measure, how are we doing?
Yeah. Well, of course, there are other little tidbit things that are it's part of your offer that you're going to adjust to fix according to whatever your business actually is or your industry actually is.
Definitely.
Finding people who wear suits isn't necessarily always going to work. It works well for the financial person, but maybe it won't. That trick won't work for a chef. But then again, all she's got to do is get their food in their mouth. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's the whole point is if you get somebody a taste of what it is that you can do, if they like it, they're gonna order the whole entree or the whole plate, right?
You got it. I mean, every single time I've been back to the restaurants that give me an offer, I always end up buying more than what the offer is. Oh yeah, if you buy an entree, you get a free drink. If you show up, we'll give you a free dessert. Very rarely do I go there and only take the freebie and then run away, right? Most of the time, I mean, you're going to be thirsty. You're going to need a drink. You're going to be whatever, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to need something else other than the freebie offer. Plus, it's the number one sales emotion, it's reciprocity, right? If you do something for me, I'm beholden. I want to do something good for you because, as human beings, we're trained that way. Right? If someone does something that does you a solid, you give it back because that's how we that's how we survive and get ahead.
Yeah. So since we're at this point in the whole entire show, I want to thank everybody for listening to Depictions Media here at depictions.media. And Earl, because this is actually being videoed and everything, and we've invited your cameras into our studio. Where are people going to find your show? Go ahead.
Oops. Sorry, repeat that. You're saying that since we are on the show.
Oh, since we're on your show, which is video, and we have the cameras going on our end here, which we usually don't have the cameras in our studio. Where do people find your show?
Oh, where do people find us? Well, we actually haven't released yet as of the time of this recording. So we're actually just doing interviews now and putting it out. But when we're out there, we have the domain connectedcollab.com. You can find us on Facebook, Connected Collabs, Twitter, YouTube. There will be an Instagram page as well. We're launching on everything. So Connected Collab is the brand name. So awesome. Look for Connected Collab and you'll find us.
Okay. And also you have you're still running Mind of a Marketer, because if you're actually on the video part, you see that Earl has his hat on for Mind of a Marketer logo. And where do we find that?
Mindofamarketer.net hasn't changed since it launched. Okay. Mindofamarketer.net.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So shall we continue with the video portion now? Okay, so we've recorded everything on Earl Flormata's Zoom account because he needed to have control over the cameras that were placed into our studio here for Depictions Media. So we did still record the sound portion of this, which you're about to hear. So if you came to us via, of course, Spreaker or Depictions Media, you're going to have the audio portion, and you would need to go to the Connected Collabs to see the entire video portion of the interview that Earl produced himself. Okay, so let's get on with the next half of the show where I get interviewed by Earl.
Okay. Hey everybody, Earl Flomata here from Connected Collab, and today my guest is Michael Clogs. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Been very busy since we've had this global health emergency, but hanging in there and just broadcasting lots, right? So
yeah, definitely. Well, for those of us with shows, I guess it's easier because everyone's at home now, so it's like they don't have an excuse to dodge you for not being on the show now. It's like, well, you're home. What are you gonna do? Well, I'm being on the show apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
So there's a bit of a story that goes along with this because as a podcaster, the big radio venues and the big TV venues, they're like, oh, you see, you can't be a real broadcaster because you're at home. And where are they now since this whole thing has happened, right? They're sitting at home just the same as I am.
Exactly. Everybody's working from home. Definitely.
So, yeah.
so that being said, that is like the perfect segue into question number one. We've only got 3 questions. It's always the same 3 questions. First question. Teach us something about your industry. So tell us what you do first of all with your show, and then teach us something about your industry that just people may or may not know about.
Okay, so to tell you a little bit about what it is that we do actually. We're not as broadband as the Globals or the CBCs where they broadcast everything. We actually do focus more on human rights. And
human rights, okay.
Yeah, and that means that we're going to take that angle of the story. What are the human rights happening there? And we also do a lot of politics with that because government really does have a large effect on human rights. How they write policy and how affects what it is that you can and cannot do, our freedoms and our liberties, right? So,
right.
So we take a good, strong look at that, and we broadcast about that, and we talk about that. One of the big things right now is schools and vaccines. So we're talking a lot about that sort of thing right now. And that's the whole thing is as a marketing person, you know about traffic, and that's who we try to bring traffic in through, and we have it outgoing to the public. So if you have a rights issue, we broadcast it so the public knows about what's going on with that.
Gotcha. So I have a question then, like just further to the whole rights issues and all that from a journalistic standpoint. How are you making sure that you kind of cover all the bases? So you got it from the vantage point of the government and the vantage point of the community and all those different pieces in between. What are you doing to get that that quote unquote proper journalistic balance, so that everyone can hear all sides in your story? Like, what do you do? How do you even find that balance? When you're only talking, because right now we're a very small team of less than 10 people, it becomes really hard to find that balance. But we all look for a valid face to the same story, and so sometimes it's like a angle that you think might be there isn't really there. So that face just falls away, and you stick with the ones that actually are there.
well, right now we're kind of focused on the whole health emergency and valid things that happen. Schools close. Schools need to reopen. You have the Secretary General of the UN making a statement globally that the schools must reopen because schools in Canada and the U.S., who are big listeners, I assume, to this show, they're not necessarily always the safe haven or the place where kids go to get food. But if you look in a more remote area, that if that school closes, now you're talking about malnutrition in the children. You're talking about there's no longer a safe haven to protect them from human trafficking.
Right.
We can roll down
that one piece just expands into like a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not just free babysitting for the parents so they can go to work. It turns into a whole bunch of other.
Yeah. So now let's look at schools here in back here in Canada and the U.S. If the parents have to go back to work and they can't work at home, we're lucky we can actually work at home. But if they have to actually go to a workplace, they can't take their children with them. So now we need that school to be open because the kids need a place to be while parents are at work. They need the daycare system.
Otherwise,
which is an extension
of the economy suffers.
Right.
Yeah, I follow.
The economy suffers.
So it's also daycare. It's also food distribution. It's also spurring the economy with a place to put the children so that the parents can go back to work. So it's a bigger issue than just schools closed, schools reopening. I get it.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
So look at how many different faces did we just put to one single happening.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So question number 2. Now that we've opened the entire can of worms with the schools, why don't we run to the personal aspect? Teach the viewership something about you as a human being. What are you into these days? What's interesting to you? What do you do when you're not reporting or working or doing any of those things? What do you do for fun?
Oh, what do I do for fun? I do a lot of really goofy things for fun. I enjoy physics, a lot of sciences, and more specifically, like astrophysics, and briefly the math that can go along with that, which sounds really geeky, except for when you start to look at to look out there and you see all the really cool things that there are in our night sky, and it's just a thing of beauty to see, and then trying to understand why in the heck it is all there, so.
Yeah, well, for sure. I do keep up the tab sometimes on sciences, and it's funny watching everybody talk about the craziness that's happening in the sky right now, where like one black hole is trying to eat another black hole and spit out another black hole. I'm like, what the hell? And then all the craziness of trying to land on Mars and all that stuff that's going down. So yeah, that's. I mean, I have yet to have an interviewee say that they do math for fun on the side when they're not working. But there's always a first time for everything, and it is definitely fascinating to see.
It's not exactly what people think it is when I say I do math for fun. It is more of math as a language. If we stop using math as a function, like say 1 + 1 = 2, right? We stop doing that sort of thing, and we take the accounting and the economics and all that kind of stuff. Although economics could be pretty fun too, depending on how you look at it. Because
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Freakonomics podcast.
Right.
So they're always talking about this stuff.
Yeah. So when you consider that as math, right? You talk about the black hole, right? Now I'm going to invite everybody to go Google Stephen Hawking's, and I want you to, when I say, I want you to do something specific, and you're going to find something really amazing. Google Stephen Hawking's headstone.
Okay. I won't do it right this minute because I'm recording,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll definitely do that.
But what you're going to find is a math equation that explains a black hole. So that's math as a language.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
That's
cool.
pretty cool, right?
I look it up now. That's interesting, right? So, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But people go, well, what do you want on your headstone? Well, I would like an equation that explains a black hole, obviously.
Yeah. That was his theory. That was his thing. Was he did a lot of research into what a black hole really is, and his equation explains exactly what that is. So
cool. Well, there you go. Math can be fun. There you go. Well, the third thing is the offer. What kind of offer could you make the audience? And it could be something just as simple as coming to check out your show. What kind of offer do you want to put out there in the universe? What offer do you want to put out?
Well, one of the other things that we do differently at Depictions Media, when we actually do sit down and interview experts and things like that, we don't charge them to be interviewed. You sit down, you get interviewed, you're interviewed for free, right?
Right.
Which is kind of interesting because most podcast hosts actually charge experts to show up. They make them pay a fee. Well, okay. how we actually do that is, and this looks more like a model set for the bigger media companies, is we actually look for sponsors, and we do that in a very specific way. We look for sponsors to have affiliate links, so that when we build our whole blog post on depictions.media, that we put your affiliate link into the blog post.
Gotcha.
So as people read the article and they're listening at the same time, wham, they run into, oh my God, it's like, I need a marketing person. There's this guy's mind of a marketer. Oh my God, let me click on that right now, because you never know when you're going to hit somebody at that right specific moment, and that's how we that's how we pay our bills, is through affiliate marketing.
So the offer is basically, if you know some guys with some good offers out there, we should introduce them to you. Yeah. And if you know some guys who are experts who would be interesting to talk to and listen to, we should again introduce them to you. Mm-hmm. And in that mixture, you guys make your profits from referring people to good people. That's great. Right,
exactly. The essential business model is, of course, we got to have great content, right? We got to make sure that that's good, because that attracts the public. And hey, if you have a business and affiliate link, jump on board, and we'll steer the boat through the pond, and as we catch fish, we'll throw them on board, and if it's a fish to match you, a customer that matches you, then you'll get through the affiliate links, you'll get the business.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for being on the show. And thank you for your time. And I look forward to when both of these shows are produced and sent out and published to the world. So yeah. I'll definitely be looking out for mine, and I'll let you know when yours is ready to go.
Awesome. So, all right. Thank you so much, Earl.
Thanks again.
All right.
Cheers.
All right.
And that's it for the recording. So I will stop the recording here and stop the recording there.